Good evening to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Outlook and discussion, talking about Tropical Storm Harvey here. Kind of late at night here on Friday night, the third update of the day. I want to take a look at the latest stats on it and talk about a couple of things to look for in the modeling and the structure of the system for the next several days. First, the latest from the National Hurricane Center. As of 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or Atlantic Standard Time, the winds are still around 40 miles per hour. Pressure 1,005 millibars, and it's moving west a little slower now at 18 miles per hour. This is the forecast map, the track map from the Hurricane Center, and you notice that it's got a little bit more of a bend to it to the northwest here, west-northwest, a more northerly component, maybe not interacting so much with Honduras, and so that's going to be interesting here for the areas in Belize perhaps, and possibly over the Bay of Campeche. We just need to see. You got to remember, this is 4 to 5 days out in time that we're talking about with computer model guidance that has not been that reliable this season to speak of. And so there may be some changes coming. We'll just have to wait and see. This is not necessarily very straightforward. We do have some deep level ridging out here, keeping this from turning north, of course, across the greater Antilles. That's not going to happen. But later, we need to see how much of this high pressure is intact out here to keep it either moving generally westward like this, or does this start to sort of erode away and look more, I'm just kind of drawing here to just give you an idea, like this, with another ridge over here, opening the door for the possibility of it coming into the Western Gulf. That is not impossible. It's a non-zero chance, as they say, that could happen, especially since we're talking about days 4 and 5 here. Most likely it stays in this region, but it's not a 100% guarantee. Looking at the satellite animation tonight, a couple things to point out. This big upper level low still spinning around. Some of the spokes of the energy here coming across Jamaica. Probably some heavy rainfall this evening down around that region. And here's Harvey, fairly disorganized, not hanging on very strong right now. Obviously winds are only 40 miles per hour. And that might be generous. It may be even that it has degenerated into an open wave of low pressure again. So instead of a closed system, it might be more of a inverted trough down here, just a very sharp trough, something like that. It matters, but it doesn't matter really, because it's going to just continue to move along. And in this part of the Caribbean Sea, it's kind of difficult for systems to strengthen anyway. Some do, but most don't. It's not until they get over into this area that we usually see the lights turn on, so to speak, and they take advantage of the very high upper ocean heat content, and then they try to develop. So this isn't going to just dissipate and be nothing. It may be a tropical wave at some point, and then the possibility of regeneration would happen as it moves farther to the west. So again, just over the weekend, watch and see mode, see what happens with it. Real quick about 92L. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to just say it's not going to ever develop. That's foolish. But, you know, you can see some energy up here, this upper level low here. It's not looking good for this system to develop. You never know. They're probably going to end up somewhere over here near the Bahamas. And we'll just watch it, but I'm not worried about it right now at all. And then this system out here, very large. I haven't even checked, to be honest, as to whether or not it is 93L. I don't think it is just yet. And we have plenty of time to watch, and I think even if it does develop, it's more than likely going to take a ride on the out-to-sea bus, the out-to-sea route. All right, the models. These are the spaghetti models from earlier this evening, the quadruple zero UTC time, and with the exception of what replaced the beta and advection models, the BAM, which is now replaced by these tab models. The rest of the modeling indicating this turn here, for the most part. You can see a fairly tightly clustered envelope of that. The H-Wharf up here, fairly, that's a pretty good jump off to the northwest there. Bottom line is, again, we're going to have to see, does this trend start moving even more to the north, like this? Does it come across this way? Lots of question marks here. And it's going to have to do with any kind of a weakness that develops up over this region. Lower heights up here, not as much blocking high pressure. to keep this from coming up there would allow that. So we have to wait and see. This is interesting that the 0Z hurricane models, as we call them, are indicating more of this west-northwest trajectory over time. So just something to watch in the back of our minds. And to further that point, the Gfs Ensembles, remember it's the Gfs operational that we look at, the deterministic model, and then we have the ensemble models, which are the best analogy that I use is the GFS is somewhat like the conductor of the orchestra, and then all of these members here are the rest of the members of the orchestra, the woodwinds, the brass, etc., and so forth, right? So they show quite a spread overall, which we'd expect. It's not crazy. We don't see anything like this, and a couple of them over here, and a whole bunch out here like this, where you just have, well, okay, Charlotte, North Carolina to, way out in the Pacific. Divergence. It's fairly divergent here, but not ridiculous if we draw sort of a cone around it. But you see what's happening. Even the GFS ensembles are showing this bend. So let's see how much more pronounced this gets or doesn't get. Maybe, to be fair, maybe this flattens out more, and this goes pretty much straight across into Central America. Point is, it's not done in terms of a potential threat, and you can see there's even one of the ensemble members here that makes it into South Texas, and even these that come up closer, you could bet with an impact like that you would have some onshore flow, rain showers, surf problems, etc. for, and I still can't say that word properly, etc. for South Texas. I'm going to be practicing that all weekend, don't you? So we'll watch. That's the bottom line, okay? It's not over till it's over. And the intensity guidance continues to be, makes you just say, okay, probably going to die away in this time frame and be just an open wave. But then just the overall slope and the look of everything trying to strengthen it. And then the H-Wharf, this is obviously land interaction through here, and then off it goes to develop it, as does the new replacement to the GFDL. And if we look at the intensity consensus here, and I want to zoom in if this will allow and show you, look at the intensity consensus right, well, let's slide over first of all. The IVCN, come on, the intensity consensus, this is just fun with computer software. Right there, the IVCN, this grayish line that I'm drawing blue, look at that, it starts to go up at the end, and this is way out in time, really, 108 plus hours. But it's, makes me go, okay, something to watch for. These trends, do the trends stay trends, or do they get cut off at the knees and become the end game? We don't know yet. That's why we watch. So that's it for me for now. Been trying to work on something about the eclipse, because I know that's a big deal, but we still have a couple of days left, and so probably tomorrow, I know I keep teasing about it, put together a video. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do, what to expect, where I'm going, etc. and, put that out there for discussion. Tonight I'm going to look over some more things. I know there's a lot of talk about cloud cover. I'm going to share a couple of my thoughts. We'll see if I'm right about it. But I got to be real careful. I don't want to encourage a bunch of people to come to where I'm going to be, and then I can't be there. So you got to be a little strategic about it, but also give a couple of tips that I think may be helpful for people considering watching it along the beaches in the totality area and elsewhere. So I'm going to put that together tomorrow, I promise. And I have to, because I'm leaving for everything sometime on Sunday. So there's one hint for you. All right, well, that's it for me for tonight. Thanks for tuning in for all of these updates today. You folks in Barbados, I hope you get back on your feet quickly after that rain from Harvey. Once again indicating that, yes, tropical rainfall is a hazard. And just because it doesn't pack a punch with wind doesn't mean that the rainfall and the water can be problematic. So let us hear from you. Let us know how you're doing. Have a great rest of your Friday night. I'm Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. We'll talk more throughout the weekend.